Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 15th meetup of the AWS user group of Geneva. Today, we'll have two guests, Magali Matisse from the Powerhouse Romandie. She will talk about the AWS Restart program, And just later, at approximately 6, we'll have Luca Bianchi, who will talk about SageMaker and how to start a project in the good way with SageMaker. So after that, we'll have a little quiz and be aware of what the speakers will say, because all the questions are about what they are saying. Okay, so let's begin. I will just welcome Magali. Hello, Magali.
Hello, everyone. Cannot see anyone, so hopefully we're hundreds behind our screens.
Not yet. There's just a few people here, but I'm sure they will come in a few minutes. But of course, they will catch up. Don't worry.
Okay.
You can start if you want.
Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation, Mohamed. Thank you, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you, Bashar, also, who put us in touch.
Yeah.
So I'm going to present you what we're doing with the Powerhouse Romandie Association, which is a non-profit association. So I'm going to present you what we are developing as projects, what we've called AdaFlow. That's programs that help rebuild careers in IT for unemployed people mainly. So I'm going to give you a bit of context before I'm coming to the AWS Restart program. So the context of this association is that, as you might know, there are a lot of unemployed people in Switzerland. We are based in Lausanne and active in the whole Romandie. And we want to increase diversity in tech. As you know, there's a lack of IT talents, which is going increasingly during the next few years. So with all these, we would like to change things, and we would like to really act concretely. So the projects AdaFlow that are training programs, and AWS Restart program will be one of this program that targets jobless people who wants to be trained and who wants to work in the IT field. So mainly women, refugees and migrants, broadly unemployed people, AI beneficiaries that are handicapped people, or people who are beneficiary of the insurance invalidity. People who need support, who are motivated, and who want to work in this field. Who also needs practical experiences to be able to find a job. And of course, people who are eager to learn and really motivated. On the opposite side, we are also partnering with companies who are looking for new talents, who also would like to develop their corporate social responsibility, and who wants to increase diversity in their teams. So as I said, we're supporting jobless people in Romandie who wants to rebuild their career. So we are targeting mainly people who are in a precarious situation, having no support to find a job. And we are also partnering with the immigration offices, unemployment offices, and the AI, and other institutions and associations that are supporting such people. So what we're offering is a training, so different programs, training with IT trainers to really increase their knowledge and experience and who they're learning, and also support by professionals, IT professionals. And then the idea would be also to develop an agency to offer job opportunities. but also we are partnering with companies who want to support these candidates and who wants to hire the people that we will have trained. So we have different programs, and for one of those, the next one, which will start next week, it's a part-time programs. We also help and support professional integration for these people. So we put them in touch with companies, we do the matching, we help put them in touch with professionals to develop the network. And we also help them to upskill their skills really with a real life project they can work on during their training. So basically, for all the programs as we designed them is a 3 to 4 months program, technical training, also integrated workshop to develop employability skills, support by IT trainers and professionals, and exercises, practical projects, and so on. And then added to that, we are supporting each candidate to match them with a company and find an opportunity. And then we do the follow-up to make sure that they are everything is going well, and we are encouraging them to take part into the association activities, like sharing their experiences, leading workshops, participating in meetups, and also other events. So the first program that I'm talking about is the one that we are implementing right now, because it's going to start next week. We have selected 12 candidates, and the first program is about Web 360. So it's centered on WordPress, and the idea is to really help them to master all aspects of web, like web project, web development, and then to be able to work into companies either in a communication marketing with a really like some technical orientation, or they can be able also to push some of these topics if they would like to. If they are interested in going more into front-end or back-end development, they could, because the aim is really to give them a really good basics. And thanks to Bashar, we've discussed with AWS because we've seen that AWS offer a program which really match what we're doing. It's the AWS Restart program. So it's exactly what we aim to do, and it matches our mission, which is providing IT training for unemployed people interested to change career. So I won't go into details about this program, but it mainly it's a 3 months program. And the aim is really to cover the main topic, to then be able for each candidate to pass the AWS Cloud Practitioner certification, and to be able to integrate a team as a junior DevOps or system and cloud support technician in a company. So it's a really interesting program that we are really eager to implement. We are still looking for IT trainers, I'm going to talk a bit later what we are looking for. But the idea would be to implement this program in autumn this year. So we will do the selection during the summer and start the program. So if we can find a trainer in Lausanne, we can do it in the location we're in. Otherwise, we could do it remotely. So it's still to discuss depending on the trainers that we will be able to find. So the trainer for this program needs to have at least a year as a year experience as an IT trainer or teacher, covering the kind of topics that the AWS Restart program is covering, and would be willing, have already, or would be willing to pass the AWS Associate certification. So either the Architect or the DevOps Associate certification. This is the condition that is required by AWS. So this is a really nice program, and it aims to target all the people who wants to get into such a career, but don't necessarily have the experience in such fields. So it's exactly the people that we are targeting, women that are looking for a job after like having a break in their career, or refugees, migrants, people in the AI, or other people in the unemployment office. I'm going to talk briefly of who we are. So these are some of the people that are in the association, and there are more, but I didn't like feel like putting all the faces on the slides, but we are mainly organizing, like mainly managing the operational of the trainings. So myself, from my background, I studied mainly education, and I did like several jobs in communication and management, and I worked for 2 years with Power Coders as an industry lead, so helping people find a job and facilitating also internships in companies. And I co-founded with Colin Sauzet the nonprofit association Powerhouse Romandie almost 2 years ago. And my associate Yannick Burki, he's the founder of Virtua, which was a digital agency that was located in Morges and was like bought a few years ago. And he also is the founder of like Académie de l'Essentiel, and is someone who is have broad knowledge in the digital overall. And we have a lot of different members in the association. People coming from the IT world, but also people coming from the immigration and helping people to get integrated in Switzerland. So I put here some of the collaboration that we have, really general. These are some companies that are supporting our association or members of our association. Also, some companies and organizations that we're partnering with, such as Levam, l'AI, also the BLI, and we are working a lot with a lot of associations to really target the people that we want to help, like Association Découvrir, who helps educated migrant women, or Mompreneur, or IFPD, that are also supporting migrants overall to really get to advance in their career. We have a lot more collaboration, but these are the main ones. And just to situate, because I talked about the powerhouse, I talked about Adaflow, which is kind of, I know there are quite a lot of projects going on, but the idea started last year with the creation of Powerhouse, which is a solidarity co-working space, now third place, where a lot is happening, like trainings, conferences. We have meetups, and we have a lot going on there. And now we are developing this year IT programs, training programs, so such as the AWS Restart program and the Web 360 program and hopefully next year new programs as well. And we aim to really help people to find a job opportunity right after the program. So hopefully we'll be also able to ourselves provide jobs and hire people. And that would be really like a goal that would be amazing. So here I put some next steps about like, so we are starting next week the first pilot program, the Web 360. And as I said, we aim to develop the first AWS Restart program in autumn, if we manage to do that, if we have found the trainers, and that yeah, it's mainly this, and we will have secure enough funds also to do it. So what we would need. So we are currently looking for sponsors to cover costs for the training of some of our candidates. We are looking for partners as well who would be interested to offer internships or jobs opportunities to successful candidates. And also, we are still looking for trainers to lead workshops and support candidates in their learning. And yeah, we are still looking for a main trainer for the AWS Restart program. We are still looking for one who would be able to dedicate at least 50 or 60% of his or her time during autumn. But that would be to discuss depending on the opportunities and what would be doable. And yeah, I put just a slide quickly about what we're doing, the other project. So we have Permanence Informatique every Fridays it's for everyone. It's open to everyone to really tackle electronism. So anyone can come and ask questions. It's for free, and it's with a project that has been developed, and now the Ville de Lausanne is supporting this project. And we aim to develop more meetups and workshops in the powerhouse during the year. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening. I hope it was clear. I don't know if you have any questions or, but yeah, don't hesitate to contact me if you need more information, if you have questions, or anything.
Thanks a lot, Magali, for your work. I think what you're doing is very inspiring, and I hope the viewers will give a little help. So if I go back about what you were saying, the need that you have most now is a need of sponsors, partners to help you cover the internships for your candidates and the trainer, of course.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I hope the viewers will have some people in mind that can help, or companies that can sponsor this initiative, which I really hope will succeed in this near future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Magali. I've put on the beginning and the end of the video the contact of Magali. So if everyone needs to contact her, you can go contact her directly on LinkedIn.
Yeah, or I'm on the Slack of the AWS Meetup group. So also through Slack, or you can just come to the powerhouse. We are right opposite the train station. So we'll have a coffee for sure.
For sure. Okay, so I think that's it for now. I don't know if you have any last words, Magali.
No, as I said, I'm really, really, really sorry, but I managed to have sometimes off my kids, but I cannot stay. I'm really sorry. I'm sure that Luca's presentation will be really amazing, but I need to go. Yeah. So sorry, Luca. It's
Hello,
not
Luca.
against you, but yeah. So I wish to everyone a really nice evening, and thank you again for the opportunity. and for having me. It's really great. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Magali. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you next time. Hello, Luca.
Hello.
Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Fine, thanks.
So Luca is here to talk about the Amazon SageMaker and how to easily begin a project on SageMaker. So thank you, Luca, for being with us today. There is not that much viewer. I'm sorry. They will catch up later. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I think I can share your screen and let you begin.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you hear me very well? Is that my voice?
Yeah, definitely. We are hearing you well. Yeah, don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry. That's good.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and to start sharing a couple of things that I have experienced on my own in the last few years when I started moving from being a developer, then a data scientist, into bringing data science into projects. And I figure out that there are a lot of things that needs to be addressed in order to successfully start a machine learning project using data science, using AI, and not just being someone who does AI for the sake of AI. And so, first of all, who am I? I am Luca Bianchi. I'm from Italy. As you probably guessed from my accent, I am Chief Technology Officer at New Experience, which is an international company working in the customer experience domain. We are Italian-based, but also we have branches in Switzerland and in the United States. I am AWS Serverless and Machine Learning Hero. I haven't decided yet which category to belong, because I love serverless. I'm an engineer, but I also love machine learning, and I'm working a lot with people from the community in the machine learning domain. This is because I am passionate about serverless and about machine learning since my PhD. It is something that has been on me for all my life, and it's something that's probably I am in the position to help people join the community and start bringing their unique point of view in this domain. This is a very important topic because we are going to talk about a lot of things today. We are also going to talk about bias in models, bias in the data, and bias comes from people. And if you have diverse people, if you have diverse point of views, you can resolve biases. Because all practitioners, especially in the field of data science, can bring their own point of view. So at the very end, if you join a lot of different point of views, you can solve biases. You can have more balanced data sets. You can have more balanced models. It is something that we are just starting to figure out right now after a decade, but it is something very huge. So please join the community, start bringing your experience, start sharing the knowledge. If you want to get in touch with me, you can find me on GitHub, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and the slides that we are going to show today are available on Speaker Deck. I'm going to share the URL later today. Today, I'm here to talk to you about machine learning, and since we are at the AWS Meetup and I am AWS Machine Learning Hero, I would start talking about AWS Machine Learning Stack, which is pretty impressive because if you consider that you have a lot of stuff in these slides, and luckily for you, we are not going through all of them, but it's just to give you a brief glimpse about what you can do. And you have different starting point that you can leverage for your machine learning project. And if you consider the three main streams that AWS is showing us, you can consider starting from AI services, starting from machine learning services, or starting on a lower level from ML framework and infrastructure. The most important thing is that AI services are pre-implemented use cases, pre-trained model that you can invoke just directly making an API call. Is the fastest way to start with machine learning with AI in AWS, because if you need to tag an image, if you need to classify an image, you have just an endpoint for that. You can just fed that image into recognition and ask for the categories. If you need to extract topics or sentiment from a bunch of text, you can just send a text to comprehend and ask back to receive a list of topics or the sentiment about that topics. And that's pretty cool. It's super fast, and you can't have any previous machine learning knowledge to use them. And you can also leverage these services to transcribe texts or to translate from speech to text and then from text to speech. Or you can extract text from images and perform character recognition and word recognition from images. Or you can translate text. Or you can search complex knowledge bases using Amazon Kendra. Or maybe you want to build something in the chatbot domain. You can use this very same engine that Alexa is using Amazon Lex. Or you can build personalization models, or you can build forecast models. And moving on the rightmost part of the slide, we are even diving deep into the stack that AWS. So at the topmost part of the stack, you have managed services, which are completely managed services. And then once you move on to the rightmost part with personalization or forecasting, or for detection or contact center, you have services which are still managed, but you can retrain or you can perform transfer learning on these datasets. And the only thing that you have to do is to build your very own dataset and fed that dataset to AWS in order to have their model retrain on your data. And they also have announced a number of specific services, such as Lookout for Metrics, Lookout for Vision, and Lookout for Equipment, that go on a deeper level, and they go on a lower level in the stack. They are more close to the data scientist work and less to a developer work. They are less and less managed. And on the medium level, you have machine learning services, which are the topic that we are going to discuss today. So I'm not spending too much time right now, because we will be talking about them the rest of my presentation. And at the lowest level, we have framework and infrastructure. So we can use PyTorch and TensorFlow and Keras and frameworks and Chainer and whatever frameworks you wish to implement your own data science model. But as we are going to see, most of the time we won't need to implement our own data science model, but on the other side, the managed services could not be our source, because maybe we want to do something deeper, do something more in the data science domain than invoking an APIs, because the default behavior is not what we need. Maybe we need to build a regression model, or maybe we need to build a specific tailored NLP model. NLP stands for Natural Language Processing Model. And so this is where we land. We land to ML services. And we have a lot of different services that we can use. But the recurring question that I faced every time I started with a new machine learning project is, okay, how to start, where to start with a new AI project. My business team came to me and tells me, okay, we have this great idea. We want to build an image memorability model, or we want to build, we want to enrich customer data with information about what our customer writes in their comments on Facebook or on Twitter. And the problem is that I need to start somewhere, and I need a workflow in order to move from the perception that a data scientist is someone who is going to build some strange black boxes that sometimes work, sometimes they don't work, and it starts hitting with an hammer his black box until it works in some way, and no one is able to repeat that stuff. No one is able to reproduce that accuracy or that metrics. So I wanted to, and I want to push the community from the perception that machine learning expert or data scientist is no more a wizard pulling spells out from a secret book, but is pretty an engineer, is pretty someone who has to follow a workflow to bring a project into a successful deployment. And this is very important if you consider that most of time machine learning and AI project fails. Facebook shared a couple of years ago, maybe it was 2019, they shared that only less than 10% of their machine learning projects go into production. Which are really a waste of time and money if you consider that probably you are not Facebook, you have not a lot of money to invest in research and development, so you need your research to be fruitful and your development to lead to the deployment. And in order to test the market, to test whether or not your idea is successful. So my search for a real-life machine learning workflow starting from the business, starting from the problem that I needed to frame, to understand, in order to understand what is needed to solve that problem. This is not trivial when you're talking about machine learning. So machine learning problem framing is one of the most important parts of your job when you are starting a new ML project. Then you need to collect data and to integrate and maybe join data, because unfortunately, I don't know if you ever experienced using Kaggle platform. Kaggle is a great platform to start experimenting with neural network models or with machine learning, but unfortunately, Kaggle is far away from the reality, because you have a lot of data sets that have been prepared, that have been packaged. Maybe they are unbalanced, maybe they are not well categorized, but they have been prepared by someone else. In the reality, in real life, you go out and you start collecting data from industrial equipment, or collecting data from cameras, or collecting data from videos, security videos. So you start collecting raw data, and raw data is often dirty, often is misbehaving, so it's not the right data to be used to train a model. Often that data is far from the kind of abstraction that you need to train a machine learning model. So you need to put a data collection, data integration phase, and then a data preparation phase. After you have collected, you have created your data, you need to prepare, you need to change the data, to transform the data in a way that is suitable for a machine learning model. I don't know if you have ever used a natural language processing model. A lot of NLP models require data being provided in a specific format. Just for instance, if you consider Blazing Text, which is one of the AWS built-in algorithm for NLP, Blazing Text requires having the data formatted as a label related to a record, and then the text of the record in order to train the model. So you have to prepare your data. And after you prepare your data, you can also visualize and try to understand how your data is done. And it could look trivial, but if you consider that sometimes you have millions or tens of millions of data points, it's not so easy to just download all the data set and fire a Jupyter Notebook of big pandas and try to plotting the data, because you have maybe sometimes you are dealing with tens or hundreds of gigabytes of data. So data visualization, which is something very helpful in order to ensure that you are correctly understanding your problem, is not something which could be feasible. And a lot of times, when dealing with structured data or tabular data, you have many attributes. Your table has 40 or 80 or hundreds of columns, and it's not so easy to figure out how to visualize a multidimensional table in a three-dimensional space. So you need to apply some kind of dimensionality reduction techniques in order to find out which are the most meaningful rows, the most meaningful columns on your dataset. And so you need to analyze and visualize your data just even before starting to decide which kind of machine learning model you need. And then after you have done that, you need to engineer features. So maybe you need to convert, maybe you need to drop some features. At this degree of the discussion, we could consider a feature just a dimension of your dataset. So if you have a tabular dataset, a feature could be a column in your dataset, and maybe you need to join that columns together, or you need to drop some of these columns, or otherwise you need to convert them. An often used technique in natural language processing is related to encoding the text or encoding the categories in a specific ways. So you can use word2vec to encode the text, or maybe you can use hot encoding to encode the categories. So maybe you have 5 to 6 to 20 categories and you want to encode them. So you need to build the features, and you need to store that features somewhere. And the most important part is that you need to do these things in a very savvy way, because otherwise you are doing these 3 steps over and over again, wasting a lot of time. After that, you finally came to your model selection and machine learning model training. And if you are not lucky, if out of there isn't a machine learning model that can be adapted to your use case, you probably need to build a new machine learning model. But trust me, it's just a small percentage of the use cases. In the last few years, I've built a neural network just a couple of times out of tens of times that I've chosen the right model to be trained or retrained or my specific dataset, because we have a lot of models out of there. A lot of them we are going to see, some of them are already available within SageMaker, and you can bring your own models and go on. And after you have trained your model, you have spent a few hours or maybe a few days, depending on the size of the dataset, training your model, you have to evaluate your model. So you have to test your model against evaluation, and you need to then deploy that model to build good predictions. And if the model is not good, you need to step back and jump back to a previous stage and redo the work. So this is basically the machine learning workflow that we're going to face. But let's start talking about the first step, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important, if not the most important step, which is machine learning problem framing. It's super important, because if you are not able to correctly frame the problem, you will land into having troubles detecting whether or not your model is acting correctly. So being able to correctly frame the model is something that is needed, is something that you have to do very, very savvy, because in this phase you need to understand which are the characteristic of your models, and you need to set the KPIs to set expectations. Unfortunately, it is something that you have to do on your paper, or maybe on a notebook. You have to define, starting from the business, which are the requirements that you need to exploit. And after that, I jumped to one slide, which is about model framing. In this phase, about model framing, you need to understand the specific domain. You need to talk to the domain experts. You need to have people explain you how the data is expected behaving. So if you are building an anomaly detection model, you probably need someone telling you how they expect that the data that upon that they want to recognize anomalies is working, is moving from time to time, and what they mean as anomalous, not standard, or is data outside from the performance zone. And my checklist for machine learning problem framing, it is to define criteria for a successful outcome of the project, then to establish and quantify the performances. So you have to decide what makes your model work and what makes it doesn't work beforehand. You need to decide whether or not 90% inaccuracy is something good for your use case, or whether or not you need 99 or even better accuracy. And it is very important because it deeply depends on your use case. Just let me tell you a story. A couple of years ago, I was at Remars in Las Vegas, which is a huge AWS event, and a person from Amazon.com explained that for their use case, 99% inaccuracy for an image classification in an image fraud detection algorithm is not enough. Because this means that from 100 products that is uploaded to Amazon.com, you have one product which is not an authentic product, which is a fake product that you need to pull off, you need to remove to avoid regulatory issues. But if you are Amazon.com, you are uploading 10,000 products per day, 99%, which means 1% wrong in your model is nothing that you can accept. So framing correctly your problem is something which could make you go through the whole machine learning pipeline and having in deployment something that you can use for your use case. In a lot of projects that I have done, 90% was enough, and sometimes even 60 or 70% accuracy was enough. So you need to define the KPIs, you need to bring them into your project. And then after that, you need to prepare your data. And to prepare your data, you have some big data tools that AWS is going to, AWS offers us that are not in the machine learning domain, but they are super cool tools that we can use. The first of them is AWS Glue, because AWS Glue provides you with crawlers to retrieve data from different databases. In real life scenarios, data is not don't came as a CSV file that someone sends to you, or someone makes you able to download that from a tidy repository. In real-life problems, we have to pull data out from databases. The data is stored into RDS or on-prem relational databases, or data is saved into text files somewhere, and you need to crawl them. You need to bring them into an S3 bucket, and after that, you need to discover the structure of the data. Because once you have 1,000 files with no clear understanding about how that data is structured, and how many errors, how many differences you have in that schema, you cannot do anything out from that data. And AWS Glue crawlers came from that. But the other thing is that AWS Glue builds a database abstraction on that data. So you can pull the data out from databases using crawlers, store that data on S3, and then use Glue to build a database representation. And the most interesting part is that this database is built on metadata. So you can just rerun the crawler, and it's going to update the database. And if you need something more specific, you need to transform data while you are crawling your data. While you are extracting your data, you can use Glue jobs which comply to Apache Spark computational model in order to transform the data. I remember that once we needed, at my company, we needed to build the user session out from analytics data. We had analytics data coming from the website, and we needed to aggregate data and to assign to a bunch of data a session ID, because we hadn't any kind of session attribute, and we need to extract section from that data. And Apache Spark, which processes the data using a mobile window, it's a great tool to achieve that. So you can process huge quantities of data while you are extracting that data, and you can transform that data. And after you have done that, you can also trigger that kind of crawling, that kind of extraction and transform on demand on a specific schedule. And AWS Glue also provides additional capabilities that we can use, such as for continuous data feeding. Maybe it can be useful for IoT data, and dynamic data frames, in which we can dynamically adapt the schema to data, having a schema that changes over time. So AWS Glue is definitely your tool to perform extract, transform, and load data into a database abstraction. And once you have your data there, you need to query that data, trying to understand what's realizing that data. And the best tool to query your data, to explore your data, to just start to understand what happens within your data, is Amazon Athena. It's one of my favorite tools because it is completely serverless. You don't have to set up and manage nothing, basically nothing. You pay only for the amount of data that you scan, and it doesn't require it doesn't have a scalability model that scales up with the amount of data, because it uses a special algorithm that scales with a cost-effective business model. It can also handle complex analysis, because you can use SQL keywords in order to build your queries. So as you can see in this example, which is built on Amazon Reviews dataset, you can use select distinct within a product category to extract the different categories for this kind of dataset. Or maybe you can join data, or you can group data in order to build the different datasets out from a complete, huge and messy dataset. So you can use Athena to explore data. You can use Athena also to build new datasets out from your data. And you can use different formats. My favorite format is CSV or Parquet. Parquet is super complex, so it's super fast, and it is directly supported by Athena. So using Athena, you can figure out what happens within your data, and you can have tables representing your data. This is just an example about what you can extract from the Amazon Reviews dataset, just to show you the output of Amazon Athena. And we are just at step number 2, because after that we have collected and we have started exploring our data, we need to prepare your data to and visualize your data. And here is where SageMaker Data Wrangler comes into the play, because SageMaker Data Wrangler is a visual tool to build, analyze, and transform your data. So we can start from an Athena query, or we can start from an S3. Amazon Data Wrangler is built into SageMaker Studio, and we can use Amazon Data Wrangler in order to browse our data, and then to have a summary of our data, and then to apply transforms to our data set, which means that we can drop columns, which means that we can join columns together, which means that we can change the type of a column, we can, and it is a visual tool that works on a subsample of the data, and it builds a recipe, and after that, that recipe is synthesized into Jupyter Notebook that uses the SageMaker to mangle it and transform your data into something more suitable for the kind of use case that you have to build. And SageMaker Data Wrangler also has built-in data visualization that can be used to detect how the dataset is behaving on a given dimension. In this case, I'm using again the Amazon reviews dataset, and we can see that for this given category, dataset is pretty unbalanced because we have a lot of good reviews, many more good reviews than other categories. So we can just exploit that unbalancedness from data analyzation. And moreover, we can also train small models directly from Data Wrangler just to try to understand how the data correlates and the data acts. We can train a PCA, principal components analysis model directly from Data Wrangler. And this is a great tool because it is a completely visual tool. It is a low-code tool in which you can also add your own transform, writing Python code, but most of the time you will be leveraging on just point and click and select the right transform to be applied. There is a twin product that is available within AWS Glue, which is named AWS Glue Data Brew. It is quite similar to Data Wrangler. I like Data Wrangler more than Glue Data Brew because Data Wrangler is built into SageMaker Studio, so it is more suitable. It is more usable to data scientists. And after that, we have started converting and transforming our data. We understand that we know how our feature needs to be built. So maybe we are working with Amazon reviews data, and we need to stick the reviews together in a single column and to encode our star ratings into labels in order to make them being processed by an NLP model. And we need to engineer to build these features. And here is where I found out that a lot of time is wasted because data scientists are doing the same thing over and over again, so just rerunning the same Jupyter notebooks over and over again on a slightly different data. And the best thing is that AWS provided a tool which is named Amazon SageMaker Feature Store, which is basically a database for features in which you can push your features, index them by a key, and then retrieve your features. It is a very super fast database that you can have in two behaviors, online and offline. And the nicest part is that it is stored and managed on S3 by AWS for you, which means that you can build a pandas data frame. You can ingest that data frame with one line of code into Feature Store, and after that, you can query Feature Store directly from Python using SQL, or you can use Athena to query features out from Feature Store. So you can ingest all the features that you need, all the features that you encounter in your workflow into the Feature Store, and then pull out from the Feature Store only the kind of features that you need or that your peers or your colleagues needs to implement their specific models. And it is super great because it is built to work with AWS Glue and Athena. So this means that Feature Store exposes a data catalog interface that can be queried. And it also comes with an online behavior, which means that you can use that directly from a REST API. So you can also use Feature Store to store and retrieve features at runtime when you are performing inference. So SageMaker Feature Store is your one-stop to register and ingest features to be used at later stage to train the model or to perform prediction. And after we have done that, we need to train our model. And the first tool that we can use to train our model, it is SageMaker AutoPilot. If we are dealing with tabular data, with structured data, AutoPilot is a great tool because it is a low-code tool, which means that we can just configure our data set and then choose which dimension we want to predict, which label we want to predict, and the kind of the prediction that we need. And then we can start, make SageMaker directly from SageMaker Studio, start testing and experimenting different models. SageMaker is going to deploy different models, train all of them on your data set, and evaluate all of them with different hyperparameters, and then find the best model which has the great accuracy, and you can define the accuracy function. And then after successful the training goes well, you can it automatically deploys that model as a SageMaker endpoint. So you are not using a managed service, but you are making SageMaker do a lot of work for you. So AutoPilot is definitely one thing that you have to check out if you need a one-stop, you need just a one-click deployment, one-click training solution. But sometimes you need to fine-tune the model. You need to to write your own machine learning model, to write your own machine learning scripts, or to implement some kind of preparation task even right before feeding the data into the neural network. Or maybe you want to fine-tune some parameters, such as the optimizer, such as the loss function of the model, and you can do that writing your own script in your specific language. And one thing that you can use, or maybe you can use built-in models and built-in algorithms. One thing that you can, that all these stuffs has in common, is that you can use SageMaker as a processing platform. This is huge, because you can implement just a class available in the SageMaker SDK, in this case an sklearn processor, and you can pass to the processor, you can pass information about the framework version that you want to use, the instance type, and the number of instances, and you can have SageMaker run in the cloud the training of your model for you, with no need to have a fast GPU on your laptop, with no need to spend a lot of hours being stuck in front of a Jupyter Notebook. You can offload the heavy work to SageMaker, and a sklearn processor can be run passing the processing script, which can be a pre-processing script if you are adapting data, or it can be a machine learning model. Maybe it can be your PyTorch or your TensorFlow model, and you can map inputs and outputs to the SageMaker platform, and it is going to run that script in cloud. It is going to fire Docker container with the given framework that you have chosen, and run your script, upload your script, download the data, run your script, which means train your model, and then collect the metrics and pull the metrics back for you as an output for this command. It works best when you consider that SageMaker comes with a lot of framework and algorithms already built in that you can start using with the need to rewrite them. So if you want to use one of the supported frameworks, such as TensorFlow or PyTorch, or also Hugging Face models, which are great for NLP, you can directly make SageMaker point to the container registry for this framework, and you can just pass the framework name to SageMaker SDK and have that SDK download the correct Docker format for you, the correct Docker container for you. Or maybe if you or someone in your team wants to build your own container, you can just package your container, push your container to the container registry, and then have SageMaker pull that container with specific configuration on board. But really, most of the time, you will start from already managed container, already updated container, in which the version of PyTorch is managed or of TensorFlow is managed by AWS. And I think that I love about SageMaker processing platform is that we have a container registry with a lot of data, with a lot of algorithms already implemented, already built, and ready to be used, just passing the name of the algorithm to SageMaker, and then SageMaker pull down the corresponding container and then run the data on that model. So you don't need to train a model. You just can use that container to learn that model into something different, or just build your script to use that model, maybe to encode feature, maybe to encode data, or to cluster your data. This is just an example of all the algorithms that you have available. So model training most of the time is nothing that means it doesn't mean that you have to write your own machine learning or deep learning model. Most of the time you have to choose the right model to be adapted, to be trained on your dataset for your use case. And after that, you need to evaluate the model. And in order to evaluate the model, we have a bunch of tools that are pretty advanced in the SageMaker way, but it's something that I want to introduce because they can provide a lot of benefits if you need them, if you deep dive into them. And the first one is SageMaker Experiments. SageMaker Experiments allows you directly from SageMaker Studio to build experiments that are different run of the same model with different parameters, and to have SageMaker collect all the metrics that are produced by the model for you. In this case, we are collecting the loss function, the loss value, and we can see which is the best model, plotting, making experiments, automatically plot the different losses. And so we can define and find the best one. Another tool that can be really useful is SageMaker Debugger, because sometimes model training can go wrong. Sometimes the model can face unknown data. Sometimes things can crash or exception can be raised. And when you are training at scale, so when SageMaker is running the training script on many different instances, you want to understand why something went wrong and in which specific case an exception was raised. Or on the other side, you want to understand how much time your training script is spending on the data preparation or the data feeding or the back propagation on different phases of the model, because maybe you just basically need to change the model with a different model in order to improve the performances. But you want to explore and understand how your model is behaving, or you want to profile your resources in order to inspect anomalies. Maybe sometimes you fell into a local minimum, which is an unstable point where your model lands, and this means that you cannot reproduce the training across different runs. And using Debugger and Model Monitor, you can try to exploit what happens and how the metrics changed from time over time. And the latest release tool, which is under the image evaluation, the model evaluation part, it is SageMaker Clarify. SageMaker Clarify is a tool that is super helpful because a couple of years ago, it was 2019, we started to understand that a lot of models need to be explained to be used in production. Think about a model that performs credit scoring, and tells to a bank operative whether or not give you a loan. You want to understand why the model is telling to the bank guy that you won't have a loan. And it is super important because it has life-changing behavior, and you want to understand whether or not the model is acting correctly. So explainability is something that we just start to approach in AI, and we have a lot of frameworks. Clarify is a tool that tries to detect and monitor drifts and biases either into data or into models, because the models can express biases, or they can have a bias that comes later when you are using the model. It is called drift. And with Clarify, you can plot from time over time all the metrics about your data in your model and detect whether they are shifting and whether or not your model is degrading its unbalancedness and its performances. And finally, once that you have built your model, you can deploy that into production and use that to make good predictions. So just to wrap up, because we are running over time, SageMaker is a complete platform for machine learning, which can support you through all the workflow, all the steps of the workflow. And we are just outlining a few tools, and we could deep dive in a later talk in a few of them and have some better understanding. But my goal for today was just to give you a clear understanding about all the process works and what you can start building a SageMaker product. My goal is not to teach you everything about SageMaker, because I don't know everything about SageMaker on my own, but just to give you a glimpse and some few tenets that you can use just to start deep diving into SageMaker. And I'm going to leave you with a quote that I love very much, because it is something that is the expression of the time that we are living, in which we are overwhelmed by a lot of new jargon, and understanding at a lower level, a deeper level, what means and what we have to do is the only way that we have to make our project reproducible and repeatable time over time. And so thank you, and I'm here for questions, and I don't know if we have time.
Thank you very much, Luca. Yeah, we are a bit late, but that's not a problem, I think. I don't see questions on the comments, so if anyone have a question now, it's the moment. Otherwise, I've put on the beginning and the end of the video the contact of Luca. You can, I think, reach him and ask question if you want. And
I'm trying to recover because I talk too much and too fast.
Don't worry. For me personally, I never worked with SageMaker, and I learned a lot today, and I was a little bit overwhelmed. So
Sorry about that.
I understand your last quote. So, but yeah, thanks a lot. So now, if everyone is okay, if there is any questions, I don't see anything on the comments. So maybe we'll jump to the next, the last part of this meetup, which is the quiz. But just before beginning, just want to thank our sponsor, and to share with you, just to thank our sponsor, SmartWave. SmartWave is hiring, so you can see if there is any position you want to apply on, and wanted to say that you can win one of these prize if you play. So I hope there will be some people that want to play, and to play, just I will show you very quickly the game. So you will have to go on Kahoot.it, and just 1 second. Probably this one. Yeah, definitely this one. So you have to go on Kahoot.it. We have like 9 viewers. I hope there will be a minimum of 2 that will try to play. If not, we will cancel it, of course, and we will keep the price for the next meetups. Come on, guys. No one want to win a Nicodot or something similar? Yeah? No comments? Okay. We'll just wait a little bit. And if it's not, we'll keep it for next time. No problem. Okay, so let's keep it for next time. No problem. So we will end it here. So Luca, there's someone who's trying Kahoot.it, but you're alone, Olga. 2. Okay. Come on. I will wait a little bit. So Kahoot.it, Olga, and just give your pin. The pin that is on screen 1229723. One player. Is there any other player? At least 2 players. Yeah. Okay, good. So we will start it if there is only 2 players. Can't wait much longer. Let's start. So, first question: what is the mission of a non-profit association, Powerhouse Romandie, which was the first first talk? Yeah, perfect. Support people in developing their IT skills. Next question. Second question is, what is the AWS Restart program? Organizing a running race in Lausanne, finding young Swiss singers to form official AWS band, preparing, yeah, perfect. It's preparing under an or unemployed individual for cloud careers. Next question. Which step is the most important in a machine learning project? Model training, ML problem framing, or model evaluation? Indeed. Yeah, like Luca said, the problem framing is very important. So, of course. Yeah, Olga is winning. Last question. What does Amazon SageMaker Clarify do? Translate the model behavior into a text description, detect model biases in data imbalances, compute loss function, and model accuracy. Yeah, good. Detect model biases and data imbalance. So let's see who is winning today. Yeah, there is not a third. Sorry. Next time, maybe. So Adi and Olga had win. So Olga, you need to contact me on the Slack of the AWS Geneva Meetup, and I will send you the gift. You will tell me which gift you want between the IoT device and the Echo Dot or the Media Card, Smart Card if you want a card, and I will send it to you, of course, no problem. So thanks everyone for have listening to us, and thanks to Luca to have agreed for this, and probably try to have another meetup next month. Not sure if we have a speaker next month. Otherwise, definitely we'll have something in September, probably in our premises here in Geneva, not virtual, which is will good. We'll have some pizzas and so on, and we can talk and laugh a little bit. Yeah, I hope everyone will have a good summer. Maybe, like I said, another virtual meetup next month, and yeah, that's it for today. Yeah, Olga said, I thought Clarify was explainable AI. I don't understand really what she's saying, but don't know. Maybe you have some thought about this, Luca. Don't know. You're in mute, huh? Unmute, maybe.
Clarify is a tool to implement explainable AI, so it's a tool to detect bias and imbalances in data and the model.
Yeah. Okay.
Is not a tool to explain your model. It was a joke. That question was just a joke.
Thanks for the clarification. So, like I said, see you next time, probably on virtual if it's in the summer, and in person in September. So thanks again, everyone, and bye. See you. Bye-bye, Luca.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.